Whispers are spreading across Heartland, shadows moving behind familiar faces, secrets tightening like a storm rolling over the ranch. And in episode 9, the calm that everyone has been clinging to is about to shatter. Because the truth, the kind that changes everything, can only stay buried for so long. The episode begins with a tension you can almost feel in the air, the kind that settles deep in the chest before anything even happens. Heartland has seen its share of storms, but this one feels different. Quieter, more personal, like something unraveling from the inside. Amy senses it first. There's a heaviness in the way the horses react to her presence that morning, as if they're picking up on something she can't quite name. Spartan lifts his head every time the ranch gate creaks, as though he's expecting someone or something to arrive. Ty's old journals have been sitting untouched for years, but today Amy reaches for them without fully knowing why. As she flips through the pages, a folded piece of paper slips out, something she has never seen before. The handwriting isn't Ty's, it's older, rushed, and the message is short but sharp enough to slice through her calm. "You're closer than you think. Stop digging." Amy's breath catches. Who wrote this? And why was it hidden inside something so personal? Meanwhile, at the Dude Ranch, Jack pretends everything is normal, but his eyes tell a different story. He's been waking up before dawn, checking the perimeter like he used to do during the ranch's toughest years. When Lisa asks what's bothering him, he brushes it off, but the truth is gnawing at him. He's been receiving anonymous calls every night. No voice, just breathing. Slow, steady, steady, deliberate. Jack tries to convince himself it's some prank, maybe a wrong number, but deep down he knows Heartland is being watched. On the other side of the ranch, Lou is buried in paperwork for her re-election campaign, but even she can't ignore the sudden uneasiness spreading through the family. When she sees Amy staring at the mysterious note, Lou feels a chill run through her spine. Amy's voice trembles as she explains where she found it, and Lou instantly shifts into protective mode. Someone is trying to scare them. But who would dare target this family? And for what purpose? The unease reaches a new level when Caleb arrives unexpectedly, dust on his jacket and worry in his eyes. He brings news of a horse found injured near the old trails. No signs of a predator, but the wound looks intentional. Amy heads out to see for herself, and the sight stops her cold. The injury is too precise, too controlled, almost like a warning carved into the animal's skin. Amy can tell the horse is terrified, trembling far beyond physical pain. Animals don't lie. They react to energy, presence, intention. And whatever did this wanted to send a message. As Amy kneels beside the horse, something glints beneath a patch of disturbed grass. She brushes the dirt away and finds a small metal tag, worn and scratched. Only a few letters remain visible, but Amy recognizes the mark immediately. It's linked to an abandoned property miles away, one tied to an incident the family hasn't spoken about in years, a place that should have stayed in the past. When Amy returns to the ranch with the tag, Jack's reaction confirms her suspicion. His face goes pale, the kind of pale that comes from recognizing an old enemy. He doesn't want to talk about it, but Amy pushes, and finally Jack admits the truth. That land once belonged to a man with a long-standing grudge against the Bartlett Fleming family. A man who vanished without warning, leaving behind nothing but rumors and threats. The pieces begin falling into place, but none of them form a full picture. Instead, the mystery deepens. The phone calls, the injured horse, the note hidden in Ty's journal, it all points to one conclusion. Someone has returned to Heartland with unfinished business. And they're getting bolder. Amy stands on the porch at sunset, watching the shadows stretch across the fields. The wind feels colder than usual, carrying an unfamiliar edge. She knows this isn't just a random threat. Whoever is behind all this knows the family's vulnerabilities, their history, their secrets. And Amy can sense it in her bones. Episode 9 is where Heartland's quiet peace begins to fracture piece by piece, until the truth is forced into the open. And when it finally rises, it won't come gently. Night settles over Heartland, but the ranch refuses to rest. Every creak of the barn, every rustle of wind against the fences feels heavier than usual. Amy tries to sleep, but her mind keeps replaying the warning note. The words sting, not just because of the threat, but because they came from somewhere close. Hidden inside Ty's journal, something only a handful of people ever touched. The thought twists inside her. This isn't random, it's personal. Meanwhile, Lou can't shake the feeling that the ranch is being watched. She steps outside to clear her head, and for a split second, she thinks she sees a figure near the tree line. The silhouette doesn't move, doesn't speak, just lingers, watching. When Lou calls out, the shape disappears into the darkness, leaving her with more questions than answers. She runs back inside, locks the door, and wakes Jack, her voice trembling. Jack listens carefully, his jaw clenching. That same heaviness returns to his eyes, the kind that only comes from remembering something he wishes he could forget. The next morning, tensions rise even further when Amy checks the horses and notices that one of the stalls has been tampered with. The latch is half open, as if someone tried to get in or out without making noise. Spartan is unsettled, pacing in a way Amy hasn't seen since the darkest days of her grief. She places a hand on his neck, hoping her touch will bring him calm, but Spartan remains on edge. Animals sense danger long before humans do, and today his instincts scream louder than ever. Jack decides it's time to stop pretending everything is normal. He gathers the family in the living room and finally reveals the truth he's been holding back. Years ago, before most of them were born, there was a man named Coleman Reese, a troubled outsider who claimed the Bartlett land had been stolen from his family generations earlier. He became obsessed, showing up at the ranch repeatedly, leaving notes, causing damage, insisting the property belonged to him. Jack thought it all stopped when Coleman disappeared, but the tag Amy found near the injured horse belonged to him. The realization sends a cold shiver through the room. If Coleman is back, he's not here for peace. He's here to settle a score, but Amy can't shake the strange feeling that something is off. Coleman Reese has been gone for years, people don't vanish for that long and suddenly reappear without leaving a trace. If he truly has returned, why now? And how did he get access to Ty's journal? The questions multiply in Amy's mind, each one carrying a weight she can't yet explain. Caleb arrives again with new information. He spoke to a local rancher who reported seeing footprints near the old creek, prints that didn't match any of the workers or riders who frequent the area. Caleb shows Jack a picture he took on his phone. The boot print is distinct, sharply outlined in the mud, and Jack recognizes it instantly. Coleman used to wear a specific kind of custom-made boot, designed for long trekking. The pattern matches perfectly. The evidence is piling up, and none of it is comforting. But just when the pieces seem to point toward one direction, something unexpected happens. Lisa returns from town with news of her own. She overheard two strangers talking at the cafe, discussing Heartland in hushed voices. They mentioned the ranch like they already knew its inner workings, its history, its people. One of them even mentioned Amy by name. When Lisa approached them, they left abruptly, almost too quickly, like they were hiding something. This changes everything. If more than one person is involved, this isn't just a grudge. It's a plan, a coordinated effort. And the family is at the center of it. Later, Amy sits alone in the loft, turning the mysterious note over in her hand. She tries to imagine who would have placed it in Ty's journal without being noticed. Her eyes drift to the window where dusk paints the sky in fading colors. For a moment, she catches a faint reflection, someone standing behind her. She spins around, heart racing, but the room is empty. The reflection was just her imagination. Or so she hopes. The atmosphere thickens as a new fear creeps in. This threat isn't loud. It isn't reckless. It's careful, calculated, patient, like a predator circling its prey, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And Amy knows one thing for certain. Heartland has become a target. But the true motive, the real reason behind these haunting events, remains locked in shadows. Someone wants to break this family, not through violence, but through fear, through confusion, through secrets only someone close would know. And episode 9 is building toward a truth the family might not be ready to face, but one they can no longer escape. Morning light creeps over the ranch, but instead of bringing comfort, it casts long shadows that seem to stretch farther than they should. Amy moves through the barn with quiet steps, her mind replaying the reflection she thought she saw the night before. She keeps reminding herself it must have been exhaustion or stress, but deep down, a voice whispers that it was something more, a warning. Spartan nuzzles her shoulder, sensing her turmoil, and Amy tries to steady her breathing. The horses feel what the humans cannot yet name, and their restless movements echo the growing fear inside her. At the house, Lou hasn't slept. She sits at the kitchen table with maps of the ranch spread out before her, marking every strange incident from the past week. The injured horse, the tampered stall, the footprints, the figure near the trees, the anonymous calls. When Jack walks in, she looks up with tired eyes. Lou isn't easily shaken, but today her worry is plain. She pushes the map toward Jack, insisting that whoever is behind this knows the ranch too well, knows the routines, the weak spots, the blind corners. Jack listens, silent, but the tension in his shoulders gives him away. This isn't just old history resurfacing, this is strategy. Someone is testing them. Caleb arrives just as the conversation turns heated. He has news, but it isn't the kind anyone wants to hear. On the outskirts of town, someone broke into an old supply shed and stole items that don't make sense together. A flashlight, rope, gloves, and a worn-out ranch ledger. Caleb suspects it's connected to their problem at Heartland, and the moment he says it, Jack's expression darkens. The ledger that was stolen belonged to a property once tied to the Reese family. The pieces become more tangled, more deliberate. Whoever is behind this is digging into past records, land ownership, old grievances. Someone is building a narrative or preparing for a confrontation. Amy joins them, holding Ty's journal tightly. She opens it to the page where the note fell out, studying the faint indentation left behind. She notices something she hadn't seen before, a second impression beneath the paper, as if someone pressed too hard while writing. When she tilts the journal toward the sunlight, faint outlines appear. Not words, just shapes, circles, lines, a rough sketch of land boundaries. Amy's stomach drops. This isn't just about scaring them. Someone is mapping Heartland. Jack takes the journal, squints at the markings, and instantly recognizes part of the pattern. It matches a disputed section of the West Pasture. The same land Coleman Reese once claimed was rightfully his. Realizing this, a quiet panic settles over the room. If Coleman really has returned and is now marking areas on the ranch, then this is no longer a simple threat. It's a claim, an assertion, a warning that he intends to take back what he believes was stolen decades ago. Despite the fear, Amy refuses to let the past dictate their future. She heads to the West Pasture with Caleb and Tracy to investigate. The ride is uneasy, the air feels unusually still, and even the birds seem to be watching from a distance. When they reach the disputed boundary, something immediately catches their attention. A set of fresh footprints circling the fence line. Caleb crouches down, tracing the edges of the print with his hand. It's the same pattern as before. The same boot, the same person, and they were here less than an hour ago. Amy walks farther along the fence and stops abruptly. A rope dangles from a branch overhead, swaying in the breeze. Not a trap, but a signal. A message. Attached to the rope is a fragment of old leather cracked with age. She recognizes the worn symbol carved into it. It's the Reese mark, a signature Coleman used to brand his tools. Amy's breath quickens. Someone is deliberately leaving breadcrumbs, drawing them deeper into a game they didn't agree to play. Back at the ranch, Lou notices something strange while reviewing security footage from the new cameras she installed after the recent threats. In one clip, from around midnight, she spots a faint flash of reflective metal near the barn. The figure is too far away to identify, but the way it moves, slow, calculated, sends chills across her skin. She pauses the footage, zooms in, and sees the edge of a glove. Not a work glove, a tactical one. The kind used by people who plan, who prepare, who expect danger. Lisa walks in just as Lou replays the clip for the 5th time. Lisa's voice lowers, filled with worry she can no longer hide. She reveals something she hasn't told anyone yet. Someone followed her home from town 2 nights ago. A car with dark windows stayed behind her the entire drive, turning when she turned, slowing when she slowed. Only when she reached the ranch did the vehicle finally pull away. The news unsettles Lou even further. This means their enemy isn't just lurking near the property, they're tracking movements, observing patterns, gathering information. As the sun begins to set, Amy returns to the ranch, her nerves frayed but her determination stronger than ever. She feels the danger closing in, tightening around them like a noose. But she also knows something else. Whoever is behind this isn't working alone. There's too much coordination, too much planning. A single person couldn't orchestrate all of this without help. The realization steals her breath. This isn't just Coleman Reese's grudge resurfacing. This is bigger, broader. A buried secret tied not just to Heartland's past, but to someone's motives in the present. And the deeper Amy looks, the more she senses a truth she refuses to say aloud. The threat isn't only coming from outside the ranch, it might be coming from someone much closer. Someone who knows exactly how to break them. Darkness settles over Heartland like a heavy blanket, but the night feels sharper than usual, as if the air itself is listening. Amy stands at the porch rail, staring out into the open fields. The ranch has always been her sanctuary, the one place she could trust. But tonight, even the silence feels like a threat. She keeps replaying the footprints, the rope, the symbol, the stolen ledger, each clue twisting tighter around her thoughts. Whoever is behind this isn't impulsive, they're patient, focused, and dangerously close. Inside, Lou continues scanning through the security footage, her eyes stinging from hours of staring at the screen. She slows the video down frame by frame until something new catches her eye. A reflection, just for a second, on the window of the bunkhouse. It's not a face, just the glint of metal near someone's hand. Lou rewinds again. The figure lifts their arm, adjusting something. A watch. A very specific, old-fashioned, leather-banded watch. The kind Jack once mentioned Coleman Reese never went anywhere without. Lou freezes. The image isn't clear, but the detail is unmistakable. She shows Jack immediately. His face pales, not from fear, but from recognition. He whispers under his breath, as if speaking the truth out loud will make it real. If Coleman really is back, then he's not hiding out of fear, he's lurking out of purpose. Jack knows the man's obsession, the bitterness that consumed him, the resentment he poured into every word the last time they crossed paths. But Jack also knows something the rest of the family doesn't. The dispute over the land wasn't as simple as he always told them. There were papers signed years ago, conversations behind closed doors, and decisions he regrets to this day. Coleman believed he had been cheated, and if he's returned, he might be seeking not just land, but justice in his own distorted way. But just when Jack begins to explain the truth he's carried for decades, Tim bursts through the door, out of breath. He spotted someone near the West Trail, a figure standing completely still in the open field, watching the ranch lights from a distance. By the time Tim reached the spot, the figure had vanished, leaving behind a single boot print identical to the others. The family gathers around the last trace, hearts pounding. There's no denying it anymore. Coleman Reese is back, and he's been closer than any of them imagined. Amy refuses to let fear dictate their next move. She heads to the barn to check on the horses, grounding herself in the rhythm of their breathing. But something stops her cold. A note is taped to Spartan's stall, written in the same hurried handwriting as the one hidden in Ty's journal. This time the message is longer. You're walking the same path he did. Be careful or you'll meet the same end. Amy's hands tremble as she holds the paper. Ty. Someone is using his memory as a weapon, twisting the deepest wound of her life into a threat. That alone tells her everything she needs to know. This enemy isn't just targeting Heartland. They're targeting her. Meanwhile, Lou and Lisa dig deeper into the ranch's old records, searching for any overlooked detail. That's when they find it. An archived deed from years ago, one that mentions an additional claimant who was never officially recognized. A woman, someone tied to the Reese family by blood. Someone who legally could challenge the ranch's boundaries even today. Lou's heartbeat quickens. If Coleman isn't working alone, this mystery woman could be orchestrating everything behind the scenes. The conversations at the cafe, the stolen ledger, the strategic footprint placements, the stalking, someone who knows the law well enough to exploit it, someone smart enough to stay unseen. As night deepens, the family gathers in the living room, tension swirling like smoke. Jack finally reveals the part he has avoided for years. Long ago, in an effort to keep the ranch afloat, he made a deal with Coleman's father. A deal that Jack believed was fair, but Coleman saw as betrayal. When Coleman discovered the truth, he didn't just lose land, he lost the last piece of his family's legacy. That resentment festered until it became something darker.